My brothers and sisters. Today's going to be about when you wear a collar of iron. This is going to be from Psalm 105. It's about a 40 verse long psalm. We'll do about half of it here this morning. It's going to be a review of the history of Israel with the Lord, and it's telling of his wondrous works of God. It's kind of walking through Jewish history, God's history on earth. But we're going to get stuck for fun on when you're wearing a collar of iron. This is Psalm 105. Oh, give thanks to the Lord, call upon his name, make known his deeds among the peoples. Sing to him, sing praises to him. Tell of all his wondrous works, give glory to his name. Let the hearts of those who seek the Lord rejoice. Seek the Lord in his strength, seek his presence continually. Remember the wondrous works that he has done, his miracles and the judgments he uttered. O offspring of Abraham, his servant, children of Jacob, his chosen one. So tell of his wondrous works, give thanks, make known, sing, tell of these things, glory in them, rejoice in them, and seek the Lord, seek his presence, and remember the wondrous things that he's done in his works. And for those that have difficulty, do these things. We're going to come back to these exalted things. So stay tuned. There's someone here in the middle of this psalm who's going to be doing these things even though he's wearing the collar of slavery. Verse 7, talking about the character of God. He is the Lord our God. His judgments are in all the earth. He remembers his covenant forever. The word that he commanded for 1,000 generations, the covenant that he made with Abraham, his sworn promise to Isaac. Verse 10, which he confirmed to Jacob as a statute, to Israel as an everlasting covenant, saying, to you I will give the land of Canaan as your portion for an inheritance. So this stanza pushes us to remember, because God doesn't forget. He remembers his covenant forever, for 1,000 generations. It's a covenant made with Abraham. And that was, I'm giving you the land of Canaan, the land of Israel, as an everlasting covenant. And I'm going to do that, we find out later, to be a blessing. He blesses Israel so that Israel can be a blessing to the world. Verse 12. It's going to talk about Israel now. When they were few in number, of little account, and sojourners in it, wandering from nation to nation, from one kingdom to another people, he allowed no one to oppress them. He rebuked kings on their account, saying, touch not my anointed ones, do my prophets no harm. So this addresses the question of why Israel? Is it because they were many and powerful? No, exactly not because of that. It was because the Lord chose them because they were few, when of little account, when they were wanderers, sojourners, wandering amongst the nations. Now it's going to go back and do some history here. Verse 16. When he summoned a famine on the land and broke all supply of bread, he had sent a man ahead of them, Joseph, who was sold as a slave. By his brothers, by the way. Verse 18, his feet were hurt with fetters, his neck was put in a collar of iron. Until what he had said came to pass, the word of the Lord tested him. The king sent and released him from prison, not from slavery. The ruler of the peoples set him free. He made him lord of his house and ruler of all his possessions, to bind his princes at his pleasure and to teach his elders wisdom. But what he didn't do was free him from slavery. So Joseph is this big part of the redemptive history of Israel. So the Lord gives Israel a place so that the place of Israel can act as a place for the final Savior. That's going to be Israel. One of the ways he protects it is actually by an exile to Egypt for a while. And what struck me in this part of the story was the details of Joseph. So he had fetters on his feet, and on his neck was this collar of iron. And he had to endure it for a while. So he was made ruler and lord over the king's house, but was never freed from slavery. Joseph was a slave in Egypt from the time he was a young man until his death. And you remember how he got there. His brothers thought that selling him into slavery was a more profitable option than their first thought, which was murder. So they went with that option. And decades later, they eventually hook back up with Joseph in Egypt, and they meet Joseph, and ironically, he's still a slave. And they reconcile and reestablish their relationship, but Joseph was still not freed from slavery. And I wonder what sitting around that Thanksgiving table was like. So the freedom that the brothers stole was never returned. Joseph left Egypt only as a bag of bones, as a dead person. His liberty was never restored. He had fetters and collars of iron, either metaphorically or physically, for every breath for the rest of his life. So though he was released from prison, he was never released from slavery. So a couple observations is just the cruelty of it, and the cruelty of the brothers, the cruelty of the pharaohs in not releasing him after saving a couple of countries. So it's this pain of fetters and the neck with that iron collar. So Joseph, one of our heroes of the faith, wore a collar of iron. It was a circumstance that he obviously did not prefer. It hurt him. It says that. It was a circumstance of suffering and suffering for a continual amount of time. So he, Joseph, excels in this suffering. He didn't rebel. He was faithful in the circumstances that he did not prefer. Jesus was faithful in circumstances he did not prefer. Paul was faithful in circumstances he did not prefer. Well, how about you? How about me? Will you see yourself under the faithful covenantal hand of the Lord despite some sort of a collar of iron or something else that's bad? Will you complain about your collar, or do like the psalmist does here in the first stanza, tell of his wondrous works? When it is difficult, still make him known, sing to him, give thanks, glory in him, and seek the Lord. So when you are in circumstances you do not prefer, when your neck is put into a collar of iron, will you be faithful to the Lord? Psalm 105 hopes so. Thanks for listening.